Hey guys, I wanted to make a video for anybody that has a RG450EXB that wants to upgrade it. This guitar was a Guitar Center, I think they still make it, yeah, it was a Guitar Center / Musician's Friend exclusive. I think it came in yellow, pink, and then I think there's a blue one. But the reason I made the video is because when I ordered a pickguard for it, and it was a Chinese seller, and they were listing them as RG350/450. And when I got it, the screw holes didn't line up. So this is the original pickguard, and of course it looks the same, but yeah, the holes didn't quite line up. So I'm gonna show you what I did to fix that. The only hole that the pickguards have in common is this one right here. So what you want to do is screw that down with one of your original pickguard screws, and then you'll go around and you can drill a hole for each of the ones where they go. And the way I did it was I used this drill, I believe it's called a wow stick. Comes with a set of small bits, and then I just used the second to largest bit for the screw holes, which is what I have on here, and I've taped it off. But drilling a hole with it is super easy. It's, you can put it exactly where you want it to be. And it's really, really easy to control. So, definitely, I mean, it's kind of expensive to get just for one job, but I actually bought it to put a bunch of window holes in my Playmates Enterprise D Star Trek toy from the 90s. So I had it for that, and that was like a 2-week job, so it's good to have it for guitar stuff. I had to fill this hole, and all you have to do is just take some toothpicks and wood glue or super glue. Wood glue is fine, and you just poke the toothpick in there. You put wood glue on the tip, stick it in the hole, break it off level. Take the other end, stick that in the glue, stick that in the hole, break it off level, and then drill your hole next to it. And then that's perfect, and you're fine. Now, when you go to make your screw holes, what I would recommend before drilling is to, I believe I mentioned before, to screw this screw down here, but don't screw it down super tight. What you're going to want to do is slide the pickguard around and kind of orient it where you think it looks the best. Now, I might recommend putting your 5-way selector on, even if there's nothing else on there. I'd put your 5-way selector on, because what happened with me was I drilled all the holes, and then after I loaded the pickguard and went to put it back in, the holes wouldn't line up because I couldn't push the pickguard far enough up that way. So the switch was knocking up against the inside of the body. Now, this is a fender switch, which is kind of fat. It looks like this kind of switch. And it has like the little hub on the outside. And that kind of sticks out into the wood, it looks like. So what I ended up having to do, now you might not have this issue if you're using one of the thinner Asian switches, but when I originally took the guitar apart, this was the switch it had in it. So it wasn't like I changed the switch out. In my case, I ended up dremeling out a bunch of wood in here, but I'm going to show you in a picture in a second, but I think the main place to concentrate is right up here in the front, because that seemed to be where it was hitting when I was sliding it up. But like I mentioned before, you might want to just go ahead and put your switch on there, because you might find that you can orient it in such a way that you still like the way it looks, but you don't have to change anything with the body route. So see if you can do that. I just didn't think of it at the time, and I screwed everything down, and then I found out too late that everything wasn't quite lined up, or you know, that this didn't have enough room with where I put the screw holes. So when you go to put brand new screws in, I took a tea light candle, and then what you do is you take your screw and you kind of roll the threads around in the wax, and then that lubricates the screw, so when you go to screw it in, it makes it easier to get it into the brand new hole. It definitely helps a lot. Now another issue that I had was once I got the pickguard, once I got everything on there, I discovered that the tremolo, when I pulled it back, was actually hitting up underneath the bottom of the pickguard and bowing it out slightly. So what I ended up having to do was, and I'll demonstrate on the old pickguard, with the pickguard screwed into the guitar, and before the tremolo has been installed, of course, I took a 9-volt battery and wrapped sandpaper around it. And what I did was, like I said, with it bolted to the guitar, I went down to the pickup routes, and I'll show you a picture of what it looked like. I taped everything off. So I wrapped the sandpaper around the battery and then just did this back and forth. And you'll notice the rounded corner of the battery fits perfectly with the rounded part of the pickguard. See if I can get to where there you go. So it's sort of the perfect shaped object to use as a sanding block. And then you just go back and forth and you take that edge down until it's flush with the wood. And nobody will see that part anyway, but you can get it flush without hurting the finish. So that's basically what you're going to be doing on the guitar to keep it steady and make sure that it's perfectly lined up. Now you'd never notice by looking at it, but I also took an X-Acto knife and just very carefully shaved a little bit of the pickguard away where it meets the corner, where it comes around the corner there, because it was a little too rounded and I wasn't able to get it completely clear with just the 9-volt battery. But it's really easy, and you can just shave off a teeny tiny bit at a time until it's perfect. And you know, if it's flush with the cavity edge, then you're golden. I don't think this was the original pickguard. Let me see. Oh, well, yeah, the one I have here. I think the holes are too big. I think they're for like CTS pots. So what they did, the previous owner, was they put an extra set of nuts. There's a nut on the other side of the pickguard with a pressure washer to hold it in place, and then the regular washer and nut on this side. And they're just kind of, the pickguard's just, the pot is just kind of sandwiched on both sides of the pickguard to hold it tight. So they're basically pinching against each other through the hole, and that holds it in place. And it seems to work great. I just copied the same thing when I did this one, because this one had big holes also. So I just transferred all the controls over to this pickguard, and those knobs that came with it were just too cool, so I kept those. The DiMarzio pickups, this is the wiring diagram I used. the way that Ibanez RGs are set up is, and I didn't know this, I used to own an RG and I didn't know this then, is that this position, of course, is just the humbucker. This one is both of these together, but what I didn't realize is that it coil splits this one. So you have two single coils, and it's this coil here on the inside is the way that's designed to be, and then this one, and then in the middle it's just the middle pickup by itself, of course, and then this one is this coil and the middle pickup. Now, it's not wired any differently, but if you look at this diagram, notice how the wires are coming off the bottom here and then off the bottom here. Well, they're not fucking around. The wires do come off the top here. So what you do is when you put the neck pickup in, you literally just twist it around and mount it opposite so that the wires are coming off this way, and then these two, the wires are coming off that way. So that's pretty simple. Now, another thing about pickups, if you've never done it before, you can use an alligator clip. So when you're trying to get the pickguard back together, you can hold the spring in place by pushing it down and then clamping an alligator clip across the teeth of the screw, and then that'll hold the spring down long enough for you to get it in place and screw it down. Another thing about the pink DiMarzios, if you want to get pink ones like this, you have to buy a pickup that has the pink bobbin that is part of the pickup. Like if you look down there, you can see there's a winding. So that's not a pickup cover, that's actually the bobbin. This is a Utopia, and I think there's a, I can't remember what the other one's called. I think it's Dark Matter maybe, but yeah. If you try to get any of the other DiMarzio pickups that come with, with a separate bobbin cover, it'll be the wrong color pink. So if you want them to match, you'd have to make sure you get one of the ones that is made out of the same pink plastic as the humbuckers. Another thing about these, they actually warn you on the package. I don't have one on hand. Maybe I do. Somewhere on them, there's a warning that tells you, let's see. It basically tells you that, yeah, the item may fade. I think the other half says, if exposed to strong light. And that is a thing with, has always been a thing with the pink pickups. If you see the older Steve Vai guitars from the 90s. They're really washed out. It's kind of like, as a matter of fact, if you look at the screwdriver right here, see how it's orange here? And then look on this side, see how it's all washed out and faded? That's from this light shining on it. So really the guitar should not be here right now, but I'm doing it for y'all. So I installed the Gotoh Tremolo. Going to be making a separate video about that just because I wanted to keep it short. But that's what I've got in here. I have foam under the springs and under the claw too. So I got a back plate off of eBay. And it fits perfectly. I got a set of these black screws. I think the monster bolts. You can see goes on there just fine, so that's a good thing. Oh yeah, if you're going to be using DiMarzio Cliplock like these, make sure you use the black screw. That's intended for Ibanez. It's a different, I think it's because it's skinnier. It's the same form factor, I suppose, as the original strap button screws. It's not a color thing. They do include a silver and a black washer, that is a color thing, and you can use whichever one matches your hardware better. If there's anything, this is definitely going to come up in the other video, but if there's anything that needs blackening, you can use this Rust-Oleum appliance epoxy, and it's perfect for metal. It doesn't come off, so I recommend it highly. Like if you have like a scratch screw or something like that, or something that you can't replace. As a matter of fact, see these screws here on the humbuckers? They're actually gold. And at the time I didn't know that the DiMarzios came with screws, so I had already painted the screw heads. Make sure that when you take the plastic off the pickguard, that you remove both layers. Apparently nowadays many pickguards come with 2 layers of protective plastic. And it's funny because if you look at this one closely, whoever owned this before, it looks like they took off one layer and then left the other one still on there. So that's kind of funny. So if anybody wants to buy a pickguard that's still got the plastic on it, hook me up! No, I'm just kidding. Maybe. So I'm going to pick this up in the video about the Gotoh Tremolo, which I'm going to make next. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Hopefully I didn't leave anything out. And thanks for watching.